construction site monitoring is, it's interesting because you might not think, well, it's just dirt, but there's an awful lot of nutrients that flow off of those sites, which we'll see. So we have a team around the river. I see Randy, we have some of our team members present today, and we're actually gaining people here and there. Could always use more, but in certain sites, especially Severna Park, it's so dense. So if you're in the mood, Severna Park. So we have this dedicated team that travel around, and they have a route of sites that they gain from the county website. We can see that the active grading permits are visible, and we keep an eye on them. So this is a saying that we like to use: exposed soil equals pollution, and there's a lot of components to it. There's just sand and dirt, which will impact the clarity and whatnot, but there are also dangerous things in there. I always like to mention the clay particles because they will actually coat fish eggs, and as Dr. Horner mentioned, they will also clog the gills. And not only that, they go through silt fence. So clay particles are real trouble, big trouble. Then again, there's the nutrients, and there's a slide further that you'll see the impact of the nutrients. This is a shocker, right? Yeah. Everybody thinks about agriculture being the big culprit, and it is. But look where construction sites rank with those nutrients, right? Especially nitrogen. Enormous impact. So what should be happening on those sites, and it's all by law, county code, what should be happening is stabilized perimeter, stabilized interior with the soils with straw or vegetation, right? And if you don't have it set up properly, you can see the damage that happens. There's 3 terribly maintained sites, and I think that's Deep Creek. You can see what happens when you don't take care of business. And there was an awful lot of damage done to that body of water because of poor stabilization. So these are 2 examples of good stabilization. You have silt fence that's in good shape. You keep all the exposed soil covered with 1 inch or 2 of straw. That's like 2 tons per acre, I think, and it's very inexpensive, but it takes some maintenance to do that. Now, here's a couple of things that we look for. When a new site starts up, they have 3 days to stabilize the perimeter. 3 days to stabilize the perimeter. And that's a big deal because otherwise it's just roaring off of there. Then they have 7 days after that to stabilize the interior, all the soils. Now they can have exceptions for any grading, like if they're moving some dirt around, say they're backfilling the foundation, something like that. There is an exception for that. They give them a little bit of leeway for that. But this is all according to county code, and most of the time people are diligent. They do what they're supposed to do. We survey a lot of sites. This is just one zip code, as you can see, 55 sites last year, and only 8 of those required correction. And I want to divert for a moment how that happens, because we're not the police, right? What we've done is, and I love the way this works, we have a very good relationship with the county inspectors. They're bosses. The bosses, the supervisors of the inspections, I should say. So if we find somebody that's stubbornly non-compliant, we're not going to confront them. We're going to talk to the supervisor of the inspectors, and they really, believe it or not, they really appreciate this. We're helping them with their work. They'll get a quick reaction. They'll get somebody out to check it out and get back to us with an email. It's a beautiful system. It really is. So that's, in a nutshell, how we correct the problem, right? So also, it doesn't help. I mean, it doesn't hurt at all to have John Peacock on board. He's the former supervisor. He works with MRA as a consultant and advisor, and a great storyteller. So he helps us out with a lot of these things as far as background. And you need to have little clues about how best to negotiate. But I will say the current conditions with the administration have been more helpful, more compliant, more grateful for our work than ever before that I can remember, actually. Here it's basically reiterating what I just told you, what we do, what we're looking for is the silt fence, bare soils, evidence of runoff leaving the site, These are the indicators of whether we know it's being done correctly or not. As Sally and Paul mentioned earlier, we're always looking for volunteers. We are very much in need of certain areas, especially Severna Park, as I mentioned, and Pasadena, which is a huge area. If you feel like getting involved, we'd love to have you. Most of it is individual new home sites or demos and rebuilds, sometimes commercial, but the bulk of the sites that we monitor are single-family homes. Thank you.